So you've decided to back up your files, but backups can be tricky sometimes. Your data keeps growing every day. It's easy to lose track of file management, making it impossible to manually copy files one by one. At the end of the day, you might tell yourself, I'll back it up tomorrow. Introducing C2 Backup, our cloud-based backup solution that comes built in with a number of great features. With just one backup task, you can back up not only your files, but also all of your applications and system configurations on a regular basis. Simply set a daily or event-triggered backup schedule whenever your device is powered on, signed out of, or when the screen is locked. Your data will be protected automatically. With your data security and privacy in mind, we make sure that your data is encrypted at all times, including during transit and in storage. On top of that, the use of incremental backup allows you to save time, storage space, and bandwidth by only backing up modified data. For restoration, C2 Backup provides flexible options by keeping multiple versions of your backups. So when disaster strikes, you can both recover an entire device and download individual files. You can manage all of your devices and important information in one place using the clear and simple dashboard. Ready to get started? We provide two different storage options, 300 gigabyte and 2 terabyte for your backup plans. Both of these plans come with unlimited devices, making them a great choice for both personal and family use. Unlimited backup without breaking the bank. Get started with C2 Backup.
Hello, hi guys. Okay, so it's our once a month event again. All right, so today we'll be talking about the latest product from Synology. It's called the Synology C2. All right, so today, other than just covering on the C2 products, we will also be doing an update. Okay, so there's two new SKUs being launched. All right, so us all being resellers and also installers and also system integrators. So basically, there are two new SKUs, which I will talk about it at the end of my slide. And as usual, at the end of my slide, there will also be a QR code for you to scan, for you to give some comments with regards to the content today. And also at the same time, if you wish to participate in any of the C2 offerings, okay? So right now, there are still ongoing trials, all right? So there are some free trials going on for some of the C2 topics that we'll be talking about today, all right? And other than that, we also have some of the newer stuff going on, right? So today's topic will be mainly on the introduction and review of the C2, all right? So under C2, there are a couple of things that we'll be talking about, which will be the C2 Password, C2 Transfer, C2 Identity, and C2 Backup. All right. So basically, these are the four items that we will be covering today. Okay. Of course, C2 Backup is actually a ongoing offering, which is already been out in the market for a couple of years. Right. So from there, they have actually expanded out to include a few other stuff. Right. So today, I'll just cover briefly on some of it and also to go through how to actually use it. Okay. Now, if you wish to have a trial account and how to use it, just fill in the form on the QR code and let Synology know that you wish to try out. They will contact you and they will give you an account. Then you can just try out for a couple of months and see if you like it. All right. End of the day, there are two categories. There will be one that's free for individuals, and then there will be the one that's paid. Okay, that's for enterprise and also for businesses. Okay, so end of the day, you see which one you want to do. And also for installers and resellers, okay, don't worry, there will be a MSP program where you can help manage it for your customers, right? And at the same time, make a decent margin out of it. Okay, so for that, the program will be out. Not now. Okay, actually, it's already slowly being figured out, and then also to be launched out to all the resellers. Okay, so that once it's out and ready, I will definitely do another video and explain more about it, and also how to go and monetize on it. Okay, so I'll use the word monetize. Okay, because you can make money out of it. All right, so there are a lot of opportunity to make money out of it. All right, so now let me go into my slide. Okay, so all right, so very quickly, back to today's topic, Synology C2, right? So you have seriously seen the first video, which on the C2 backup. So we will be having a break in the middle before I go into C2 backup, around 40 slides. So in total today, there will be about 79 slides. Okay, I'm sorry, it's quite wordy, all right, because there's a lot of things to explain and there's a lot of things to talk about, right? If you want my slides, do reach out to the distributors, right? Or reach out to Synology, and then they can pass it on to you. Not an issue. All right, as usual, some of the things inside the slides are tentative, okay? Because I'm giving you guys some advanced information. It may or may not come out at the end, all right? So, or when it will come out, it depends on which Q, whether it's going to be on Q3 or Q4, or when it's going to happen next year. Okay, so roughly there and there, you have about 90 days to 120 days to try out, to know the product first before it's officially launched globally. All right. So right now it's still on beta testing. So if you're interested in joining some of the testing, just as usual, contact Synology sales, and then they will let you know. Okay. So let's move into the first thing. All right. So let's talk about Synology C2. Okay. So Synology C2 is basically cloud services provided by Synology. Okay. And inside the cloud services, basically you have your storage, password management, file sharing, backup. Okay, so all we know that backup has always been around, which is the C2 storage. Okay, they started off by having servers in Germany, and then followed by having servers in US. Okay, so the servers in Germany is in Frankfurt. The servers in US is in Seattle. All right. So this year they're launching the server in Asia. So they will be building a C2 storage. They already built C2 storage in Asia. So for us, once the Asia is up and live, okay, we will definitely be connecting to Asia. Okay, for those who have bought the C2 storage before, all right, most of them would have been in Europe, in Germany. Okay, so similarly, it doesn't matter. It's all going to be the same. Now, pricing wise, so far on the website, you're going to see two prices: Euro and US dollars. That's for Germany for Euro and US dollars for the North America server. Okay, other than that, I believe for the Asia one, it's still going to be in US dollars, right? And you will pay by credit card, and directly you pay to Synology. Okay, that's for end user. For resellers, it will be under MSP. So it depends on how much storage you want to buy and resell, right? And customers have to sign under your account, and then you can manage it for them. Okay, then you earn the difference in between. Okay, so for the C2 suite, right? So today we'll talk about the C2 password. All right, so it's a safety credential management. It helps you manage all your credentials. All right, it's good for IT managers or IT departments to manage your organization's passwords and identity. Right. So you have C2 Backup. Okay, C2 Backup, which is the personal and professional backup for data. All right, I'll explain that also. And C2 Transfer for secure file transferring, and C2 Identity. All right, so it basically streamlines all your ID management. Okay, so there are plans for each of the services. All right, so you'll be you'll be catered for individuals and businesses. All right, and also at the same time, we are still in the very early stages of announcement. So there will be trials. All right, trials will be free. So I will say out in my slides how long they'll be free for, and you can try it out and use it and play around with it. Okay, so once it goes live, could be next year, wherever Q3 or Q4, then charges will start to come in. Okay, but certain things will still be kept free. All right. So now there'll be customers asking, what are the benefits? All right. So some of it is that it's on the cloud infrastructure. All right. It's on server grade with proper encryption. All right. So all those are all done on Synology side. Given that for customers who have been using Synology for the longest time, they know that it's very, very, very stable and very, very secure. Okay. Then in terms of compliance and privacy, Synology will settle everything for customers. All right. So in case if customers need any certification, they will all have it on the Synology side. Okay, similar to AWS or Google. All right. And in terms of redundancy, okay, so that portion will be held on Synology side, and they will host the data centers in US, Germany, or in Asia. So you can choose whichever way you want to go. All right. So basically, similarly on the suite side, you have your storage, identity, password, backup, and your transfer. Okay. Right. So basically, there are a few sections that I'll go through. All right. So let's go through on the C2 password and transfer first. Then we'll have a break, and during the break, we'll play some more videos on how it's being done. It'll be a very quick 2 to 3 minutes video. Those videos are actually all available online on YouTube on Synology channel. Okay, then follow which I would cover on backup and identity. Okay, at the end of identity, I will cover on the new SKUs. There are 2 new SKUs. All right. So now, first thing first, C2 Password. So what exactly is C2 Password? So how did it came about? So basically, what happens is, as we all know, there have been a lot of data breaches. Okay, and it's basically mostly the results of compromised credentials. All right. So what happens is a lot of users, they tend to use the same password across multiple accounts, across multiple platforms. All right. So with Synology C2 Password, it basically gives you a safe and easy, secure way to manage your passwords and at the same time manage the files and information that you have. All right. So in terms of the credential management, you will store and organize your credentials and information from any platform into the Synology C2 Password. Okay, and at the same time, you can use these to share files. All right, through the platform, and at the same time, giving it different kind of permissions for different people for the files. All right, it's similar to your file sharing on your NAS, but rather than coming up from a NAS, you will go through the Synology platform. Okay, the next one will be security. Okay, so basically it protects you. So I'll explain later on, still very early stages, how the security is being done. Okay, of course you have your 2FA, and on top of your 2FA, there will be additional protection given. All right, so I'll explain that later. Okay, so now in terms of the C2 password, you will create inside your access. All right, so you have access, and basically you will have your dashboard, and it manages all your passwords for all your accounts. All right, and then you can navigate from there. And what happens is, even if you have if you have different accounts on different platforms, basically this dashboard will help you synchronize it and keep it up to date. Right. Now the next thing is you have to go through using Chrome. Okay, the advice is always to use Chrome. Okay, and at the same time, the advice is to install an extension, a web extension on Chrome. Okay, this extension will be the next level of security that will provide for you. Okay, thus far, no advice on Safari yet. So far, it's best used on Chrome and also on the each iOS and Android apps. Okay, so it's best used Chrome on iOS and also on Android. Okay, at the same time, it also help you recover things that are kept in the trash for up to 365 days. All right, so this is what happens in your vault for C2 password. Okay, so C2 password will help you generate a password, and it's according to what are the rules that are required. Okay, so a lot of websites nowadays are very standard, at least minimum 8. Okay, with a mixture of uppercase and lowercase and some numbers and symbols. All right, so there and there, if you need a stronger password, it will be able to help you generate a password also. Okay, and at the same time help you keep it and also to act as an authenticator for you. Because what happens is C2 password is able to generate a TOTP. Okay, that is a time-based one-time password. All right, so that's where the Chrome extension that I was talking about comes into play. All right, so I will show you some examples how it's being done. Okay, so let me cover the general idea first. So similarly, C2 password allows you to do file transfer. Okay, so you can share, you can upload, and then you can share a file, and then set a link. Okay, currently right now it's up to 7 days. All right, currently right now it's up to 7 days. Even for the trial users, it's also 7 days. Okay, there's a limit to the file size. Currently for the trial is up to 100 megabytes. Okay, you can also limit the number of times it's downloaded. Similarly, like how you will share on your NAS, where you can set certain parameters on your file sharing, be it even you share it through a QR code or URL. Okay, all those can all be done. Now, at the same time, with the C2 password file transfer, you can also add a watermark. Okay, so which you can't do it previously on the NAS. So for this right now, for the C2 password on Synology platform, it actually allows you to add an additional watermark into your document or your file or whatever that you're sharing. Okay, so that's one thing. Right. So in terms of the security that's provided by Synology on the platform, all right, so there is end-to-end encryption. Okay, so it will allow to make sure that only the vault owner, okay, can access the information contained in it. All right, and at the same time, all the passwords are protected using AES 256-bit encryption. All right. And at the same time, encryption and decryption are carried out at the device level. Okay. So that means all the data that leaves the device is fully protected. All right. So that means when it before the data leaves the device, it's encrypted with AES 256. Okay. Now, at the same time, the C2 encryption key, all right, never leaves the device. Okay, it's created and then it stores on the device. Okay. Now, if there are attempts to sign in, there's also the two-factor, 2FA. All right, so it requires 2FA, and on top of that, it requires an additional confirmation of TOTP. All right, I'll show you how the TOTP comes about. All right, and also ensuring that only authorized individuals can gain access to it. All right, so now in the early access so far right now, okay, if you were to sign up for it and then you want to trial for it, okay, you can use it on Chrome, Edge, Firefox, not on Safari. Okay, browser extensions are available on Chrome and Edge. Okay, so if you want to enable the TOTP, you need to use Chrome or Edge. You can't use Firefox or Safari; it doesn't work. Okay, so far right now it's still free. All right, prices are not released yet. The official release for this particular platform will be on Q3 2022. All right, so we have almost 1 year period to play around with it, get used to it, familiarize yourself with it, and see if you have any comments, okay, about using it, or if you found any bugs. By all means, you can also definitely more than welcome to feedback to Synology about it. Okay, so right now it's still on early access. It's totally free. Okay, and limit, of course, right now is up to 100 megabytes. Okay. Number of recipients right now is one recipient per file transfer, and concurrent is also still one. Expiry date is 7 days. Okay, you can do a one-time OTP to email address. Okay, and you can, of course, do the watermark. Okay, download only once option and watermark. Okay, now as usual, no prices yet. Just to quickly feedback to you on the prices. There is no prices yet, so it's still free. I would say for the next 1 year. Since it's free and still on early access, get to use it, or you can expose your customers about it, okay, so that they can be prepared for it. Okay, so now how do you go about it? All right, so the test site is over here, password dot is at EU, so password.eu c2.synology.com. All right, you need to use your Synology account to trigger it. Now, if you wish to use the test account, not to use your Synology account, just leave a note in the end survey and get the sales to give you a test account if you need. Okay. So how does it look like? So what happens is you will at first go into the test site. Okay, then there'll be a login. All right. So if you have a test account, you can log in using a test account, or else you can use your Synology account. All right. So after that, they will get you started and set up the account. All right. So it's a step-by-step wizard. Just follow as per normal. All right. It's not rocket science. Then you can create an encryption key. Okay. So you just make sure that you have to have a very strong key. All right. And it has to be at least, as usual, 8 characters, and also uppercase, lowercase numbers. All right. So all those are the usual stuff. All right. Next, you have to download a recovery code. Okay, you got to keep it to make sure in case anything happens to your account. Okay, that's pretty standard across the board. Make sure that you have a recovery code. Okay, then at the same time, so what happens is how to use the recovery code. Basically, when you forget your C2 encryption key, then you have to enter your recovery code. All right, to get your encryption key. Okay. So how do you generate password? So you can click on the dashboard after you've done everything. Okay, you can click the password generator, and it basically help you based on the strength that you need, number of characters. Okay, after it's generated, you can click copy and save the password to a clipboard. All right. So this is how it happens. Now the next thing is how do you add items and attachments? Okay, so basically after you've done the C2 password, you can add things like login, card details, emails, bank accounts, or whatever that you want. So fill in as a category, fill in the information, the login information, all right, and then fill in all the information that is required. Then there it will help you do your password management and keep it for you. Okay, so you just fill in the blanks as you go along. Okay, Or else you can also import it as a CSV file. All right. So in case if you have it already kept as a CSV file, all right, make sure the CSV file is not password protected when you upload it into the C2 password platform. All right. Make sure they can read it. And so as usual, CSV, you can break it out into columns. All right. So you have a few of the columns that you need to do. All right. So there's also a template inside there to show you how it's done for CSV. Okay. Then you just upload it and then you'll be able to save everything for you. So you can import in your passwords. Okay. So how do you delete an item? So all you have to do is, in case if you don't want to use your Amazon account anymore, right? So just highlight it and then just delete it. It's as simple as that. Okay. Nothing very, very difficult about it. Okay. If you do change the password for that account, you can also just click on it and edit and then change the password. All right. So how do you recover a deleted item? Okay, so you go to trash. Trash will keep it for 365 days. Okay, and then you can just restore. You'll restore back. So you'll remember. You'll help you keep track of the emails that you used for individual platforms or accounts. Right. And then how do you use it to do file transfer? Currently, right now, don't forget the limit for file transfer is 100 megabytes. Okay, just click on file transfer and then just select the file that you want to do a transfer, upload it. Okay, once you've done the upload, then you can select if there's any settings that you want for the links to expire however long. Okay, maximum up to 7 days. All right, and you can also add in your watermark or whatever, and also add in the email of the recipients. Okay, and then that's it. All right, it's as simple as that. Same as what you do on your Nest when you're sharing a file. Okay. Now the next one will be to send the link. Once that's done, you can send it to the recipients. All right. At the same time, if you want the recipients to verify the identity, all right, you can also enter the email address. Okay. So it's as simple as that, and then you can just enter OTP, and you can have access to all the files that you want to transfer. Okay. At the same time, it will also announce to the recipient as to when and how long it will expire if you were to set an expiry date. Okay. Now, the next one will be on the TOTP. Okay, so basically, currently it's only available on Google Chrome and Microsoft Edge. Take note of that. Okay, so currently right now, it helps you save passwords and all the credentials. Okay, you can download the extension. Okay, get it and then unpack and install it, and then you right now it's still in developer mode. Okay, to sign in is still on the Europe Frankfurt server. Okay, and then you got to enter the encryption key to unlock the vault. Okay, then you can auto sign in using the browser extension. Okay, and then the next one is on the time-based one-time password. Okay, so basically what happens is you can use the QR code to scan. Okay, and then after which you can copy the authentication key and paste it onto the TOTP field. All right. Please press apply, and then down the road, what happens is when the service is required, okay, the authentication code will come up, and prior to filling in the password, the Chrome extension will prompt you the one-time password, the time-based password, and you need to input it in before you can proceed. Right. So this is definitely much more safer than more than just a 2FA. Okay. For some people, they find that 2FA is still insufficient. They want an additional level of authentication. So this comes free and is provided by Synology. So you get a time-based one-time password. All right. And it's totally free. Okay. So far, this is one of the few free services available, and currently right now is available open for trial for everyone. Okay, so for those who are not comfortable or not used to it, you can download this and try around with it and try an error and see what happens as you slowly needs to get used to this time-based one-time password. It's like for us, it took us a couple of years to get used to 2FA. When 2FA first came out, they were like, what is 2FA? Okay, but slowly, bit by bit, people will get used to 2FA, OTP, one-time password, and then there will be another one, which is the latest one, which is based on time-based one-time password. Okay. So, so far, any questions? Anything on the chat? No, we are still okay. Okay. So, Let me move on to the next one. All right. So do sign up for the C2 password if you like to try it out. Okay, the trial is there. You can use your Synology account to have access to it. No limits so far. Okay, no payment required. There will be new updates down the road. Will be most likely next year. Okay, so just a very quick view about the C2 password. Right, next we will talk about the C2 transfer. Okay, so let's see C2 transfer. All right. So how did C2 transfer come about? All right. So basically, millions of files are shared every day. Okay, and be it on cloud or online. All right. And what happens is that they are transferred using personal email. All right. And some companies are not comfortable with that. All right. So by using C2 transfer, it basically allows you to do a cloud-based end-to-end. Okay. Encrypted file transfer, okay, and without having to go through a private email. All right. So then it allows you to have transfer with confidence, right? Safety is held in Synology side, okay. So Synology will take care of all that portion, okay, and also identity will be verified first, okay, before they can download to make sure that only the right people get access to it, because sometimes a lot of business data are being shared. Okay, and at the same time, it basically simplifies the workflow. So for administrators, they just give them account, and then they have account to be able to do the sharing, and make sure that the sharing is to the right people and not to anybody else. Okay, so now the target will be on Q4 this year. Okay, so it's also actually available. All right, so on this, it's a chargeable service. Currently, right now, it's on $9.99 US dollars. Okay, everything is in US dollars. All right, sorry, I don't have it in Sing dollars. Okay, all right. So for individuals, per month is $9.99. Per year is $99.99. Okay, so for businesses, where they need control, it will be $49.99 per month USD, and then per year is $499.99 per year. Okay, so this is based on 5 users. Okay, for businesses, it's based on number of users. For professionals, it's based on individual users. Okay, all right. So secure transfers. Okay, so as usual, it provides the same type of encryption. So it's end-to-end 256 AES on all the information and data. All right, and also it gives a OTP to the recipient via email or phone. So the recipient must receive the OTP in order to be able to open up the shared link. Okay, so you have an additional layer of security, and not so simple as to click a link and then you can download the file and do whatever you want with it. Okay, so that's, I think, very, very important. Okay, in case if you have customers who require this service, okay, it's available, and they can try it out. Now, another thing is same as the C2 transfer. Okay, you can add watermarks. Okay, you can add link expiry and the number of downloads. Okay, so in case you only give the person to download only once or twice, or so off. Okay, so then you can set it up. All right, so that's very, very, very important for quite a number of customers. All right, so for C2 transfer, it's supported across many platforms. So Chrome, Edge, Safari. It's all supported on the mobile side, iOS and Android, no issue. Okay, there will definitely be much more improvements going on. All right, so for business plan users, there will be definitely a lot more options. Okay, so let's take a look. In terms of management, there will be a portion where you can manage as a team as to how multiple users can do file transfers and send requests. Okay, administrators will have to administer it. Okay, so early access is there. So the upload limits is 20 GB and up to 100 concurrent file transfer. Local uploads and transfer is fine. You can do also watermarks. But early access, the link expiry is 14 days. Okay, and you can download once. Right. When it goes to the phase 1, which is very soon, okay, there will be a business plan and professional plan, which is chargeable. Okay, and all the others are the same, except that the link application, the link expiry date goes up to 90 days. All right. And once it goes to phase 2, which is end of the year, all will be the same as phase 1, except that they will add additional portals for business plan to save the receive task and also the mobile response and also the license management. Okay. So for phase 2, for business plan buyers, okay, they will have more options in terms of the portal. Okay. Or else right now under phase 1 as a payable, it's still not yet available. Okay. But early access is there. Okay. If anybody wants to try, just pump out or else use your Synology account to try it out. Okay. So how do you start? Okay. So as usual, you can request for it using the QR code at the end of the presentation today. And then you'll be contacted and given a trial. Okay. So how do you set it up? Okay, very simple. All right, you just go to C2 Transfer. Okay, you just click and upload the things that you need or you want to be uploaded. Okay. So then you can choose the watermark and as usual, grant access via email. Okay. And then you can share the link. Okay. Or QR code. All right. So once the person who has it, they must verify their identity through a OTP, as mentioned earlier. All right, and then the files will be available for download. Do remind them that if you only set for one time, make sure that they are aware that they can only download once. Okay, or else some people may have different devices and they want to download extra, then there will be an issue. Okay, right. So at the same time, you can request. You can also send a request, and then basically send a request to the customer for them to upload the information. Okay, so this is where you can request a document from someone and they can also do the same process to transfer a file to you similarly. Okay, so it's not just one way, it's bi-directional, so you can go both ways because you already have the storage space on the cloud platform. Okay, so as usual, once you have the send request, it'll be back to you, and then he will need to make sure that they get a one-time password via email or phone. Okay, and then they will upload it and then it will come back to you. Okay, so if you are the requester, you will be able to see in your platform. Okay, all right, so very quickly, let's just go for a very quick 5-minute break. Okay, before we come back. All right, and then we can go through the C2 Backup and C2 Identity. All right. Let me take a quick break and also at the same time, make sure it's done. Okay.
Each day, billions of files are being transferred across the internet. All of them contain sensitive information. A potential security threat can result in costly revenue and intellectual loss, reputational damage, and other issues. Due to these probable threats, businesses started to implement data security solutions and protection policies to keep internal data safe. However, it might be a whole different story when businesses are exchanging data across the internet. We're doing everything to keep our data secure, but have we gone far enough? Introducing C2 Transfer, our secure file transfer solution integrated with military-grade encryption. The data you send is encrypted before it leaves your device until it's decrypted by the recipient's device. By using one-time password, only you and the recipient have access to the file. When companies send a document, the phone number or email of the recipients should be added to grant file access. After receiving a link, the customers will be asked to verify their identity by entering the one-time password to access the files. This process significantly reduces the risk of sending a classified document to a wrong person, and the recipient is not required to have a C2 Transfer account. To take data security to the next level, C2 Transfer allows you to set a link expiration date to maximize data protection. With the built-in watermark feature, claiming ownership of your file can now be done in seconds. We also prioritize data obtained from an external source. Using the file request feature, companies are now able to request and safely receive confidential files from their clients. Modern and simplified interface makes it possible for your team to navigate and manage effortlessly. Secure your transfers to your authorized target. Get started with C2 Transfer. To remember a password, easy. 2 passwords? No sweat. How about hundreds of passwords? Studies have shown that on average, each person creates about 200 accounts in a lifetime. We create easy-to-remember passwords by using our last names, pets' names, and birthdays, or even using one password for all accounts. Yeah, it's easy for us to remember, so as to be hacked. Introducing C2 Password, our highly secure password management solution to record and secure all your personal information, such as passwords, bank account numbers, and payment information, in a safe box. Your online security is our top priority. Your data is protected with AES 256 end-to-end encryption before leaving your device. No one else can decrypt your data, not even from our end. Use C2 encryption key to unlock C2 Password. When signing into apps or websites, the account passwords will automatically fill in the required fields. Stress-free login. When creating new accounts, C2 Password helps you generate strong passwords and detect weak combinations to increase account security. With a built-in secure transfer tool, C2 Password enhances the security level of your online experience, ensuring all sent critical digital assets are safe through our end-to-end encryption channel. One-time password is adopted for identity verification purposes to ensure that only authorized users can access the data. Even if the link is shared to an unauthorized person, the data stays safe. But wait, there's more. No matter what device you're using, all your credentials will be automatically synchronized across multiple devices and web browsers by just signing into C2 Password. On top of that, it's all free. Save time while keeping your data safe. Get started with C2 Password. Disaster happens when you least expect it. So you've decided to back up your files, but backups can be tricky sometimes. Your data keeps growing every day. It's easy to lose track of file management, making it impossible to manually copy files one by one. At the end of the day, you might tell yourself, I'll back it up tomorrow. Introducing C2 Backup, our cloud-based backup solution that comes built in with a number of great features. With just one backup task, you can back up not only your files, but also all of your applications and system configurations on a regular basis. Simply set a daily or event-triggered backup schedule whenever your device is powered on, signed out of, or when the screen is locked. Your data will be protected automatically. With your data security and privacy in mind, we make sure that your data is encrypted at all times, including during transit and in storage. On top of that, the use of incremental backup allows you to save time, storage space, and bandwidth by only backing up modified data. For restoration, C2 Backup provides flexible options by keeping multiple versions of your backups. So when disaster strikes, you can both recover an entire device and download individual files. You can manage all of your devices and important information in one place using the clear and simple dashboard. Ready to get started? We provide 2 different storage options, 300 gigabyte and 2 terabyte for your backup plans. Both of these plans come with unlimited devices, making them a great choice for both personal and family use. Unlimited backup without breaking the bank. Get started with C2 Backup.
All right. Okay. So back to the topic again. All right. So right now today we'll be talking. We'll be covering on the C2 backup. All right. Very quick break, 5 minutes. All right. Everybody's refreshed. Thank you very much for joining today. I understand there are more than quite a number of us here. Thank you for taking your time to listen in. I will also try and go into the actual website, which is c2.synology.com, which basically covers all the topic that I covered today, except that it's still on the US and the European data center. The Asia data center is still not up yet in terms of pricing, but it will be definitely up there because it's already completed its construction and everything. Okay. All right. So let's cover the C2 backup, which I think many people are interested. Of course, as usual, you can also do this as a MSP, managed service provider. Okay. So rather than just usually doing all the usual hardwares and the installations and configurations, you can move and make yourself to become a MSP, a managed service provider, and you can get recurring income. Okay. Be it monthly, quarterly, or yearly from your customer, and at the same time service them. All right. All right, so one C2 backup, okay, it's actually been around for quite a while. All right, so for many individuals and businesses, data loss is a very serious problem, especially with all the ransomware and all that malware. Okay, and losing information, it means a stop to the operation and affects productivity very, very badly. Okay, so C2 backups allows you to basically have a cloud-based solution, not just on your on-prem, so now you can have off-prem. Okay, so this is Synology's SaaS, okay, storage as a service, basically providing to end customers. And what happens is, be it for personal use, all right, you can back up everything and anything Windows device, okay, and it's all available. Okay, for businesses, you can back up your Windows and your Office 365, okay, your Microsoft 365. All right, so it's expected to come in very, very soon for Microsoft 365. Okay, so the very quick highlight, basically centralize your data protection. Okay, be it for your Windows devices and your 365. You notice that everything's on Windows because for Apple, it basically goes to iCloud. Okay, there are flexible backup options. All right, you can set up schedules, retention policies, and whatever that you want to, be it individually or for your companies. Okay, and there's also multiple ways to recover. Okay, be it from bare metal or syndical files or folders. I will definitely show you examples towards the end. All right, so in terms of Windows and Microsoft 365 support, all right, it can support the Windows 7, 10, Windows Server 2008, 2012, 12R2, 16, and 19. Okay, for the 365, basically it supports the Exchange Online, be it personal, okay, and everything. Okay, so it has your mailbox, your contacts, your calendars. Okay, and for businesses, you have your OneDrive. Okay, so all those will be whatever you see, almost similar to what you see on ABB. So you may have your ABB on your NAS, and on top of what you have on your NAS, you want something also on the cloud for the important devices. You can also do it vice versa, both ways. Okay, so both sides you can have backups. Okay, what happens is, so now in terms of backup, it will be same like ABB. It's incremental. So for Monday, if you back up 1 GB. Tuesday you have another 100 megabytes. Wednesday you have another 100 megabytes. You basically increase the backup by 100 megabytes. Not so much that you will add 1.1, 1.2, and so on and so forth. Okay, it's not going to eat up that much, the kind of space. All right. So everything is going to be incremental. Okay, and depending on your policy, how often you want it to be done. Okay, so then there you will basically do your backup. Okay, now in terms of encryption, as usual, it is definitely encrypted with AES 256. Okay, and as usual, end-to-end encryption. Okay, so from a device to another device. Okay, so be it on server side or on end device side. Okay, everything will be encrypted. So even if in the middle anybody gets the information, okay, it's still going to be encrypted with 256. Okay, so that's that. Okay. Now, in terms of mass deployment, okay, you can also install a backup agent on a single PC and then start the backup protection plan. Okay, and so you can do it across the board for hundreds of devices. or whatever, however many accounts that you have for Microsoft 365. Okay, for Windows devices that uses AD, okay, you can also use the C2 Backup agent, okay, via the group policies with predefined credentials. Okay, for Microsoft 365, for Office 365, okay, what happens is you can also use the account protection and then make sure that is backup, right? So now scheduling, all right, and retention. Okay, so it's basically you can do your backup task every hour, every day, or every week. You can choose the time, of course, during off-peak hours. Then it doesn't suck up all the bandwidth on your internet, all right? Or you can let the users do a auto daily backup. You can decide when they want to do it. Also, at the same time, you got to take note of events that may trigger the backup, like screen locks, user lockout, or device restarts. Okay, so if the device restarts or starts up, then you'll disrupt the backup. All right, so take note of that. That will be a non-issue. Other than that, in terms of retention policy, the administrator, you can set it to keep all versions forever, or keep it for a minimum of 6 months or up to a year, or you can set a number of versions. Okay, there's the grandfather, father, son version. All right, so you can keep the daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly versions. All right, of course, don't forget, the more you keep, the more space you're going to use. All right, so caveat is there, buyer be careful. Okay, so now for Windows, you can do bare metal recovery. All right, so you can do basically entire device. You get the full system. Don't try and cheat the Windows because it reads the motherboard ID. Okay, so there is an ID on all motherboards, right? So Windows will recognize by that. Okay, so if you want to do system volume, you can also do that, or specific volumes. Okay, so everything is out there. All right. Now, in order to restore bare metal, you need to use a 8 GB USB drive, create a boot up media, okay, and then generate the backup recovery creator. Okay, so that's there. I have questions asked by customers as to how long it takes to do a bare metal recovery. All right, a few factors take into part: your connection, gigabit or Wi-Fi. Of course, don't do backup on Wi-Fi. Please connect by LAN cables. All right. At the same time, what kind of hard drive? Is it a mechanical hard drive or SSD? All right. Of course, the best is on SSD because SSD will be much faster. If you're on gigabit connection, of course, that will be very, very fast. Okay. The usual, so far, I guess a lot of us have already done the ABB portion of backup. We will know that it takes about 90 minutes to 100 minutes to back up about 400 GB SSD on gigabit LAN connection. All right, it takes some people about 60 odd minutes. Okay, so there is around there. Okay, so for restoration, it's going to be slightly different. It's going to take slightly longer. Okay, because it's the other way around. So far, it takes about slightly more than 100 minutes for about 400 GB for bare metal. All right, so there it takes about, space yourself about 2 hours. Give yourself about 2 hours for SSD with gigabit LAN connection. If you're using mechanical drive and not trying to avoid Wi-Fi, so if you're on gigabit LAN and mechanical, you're going to double the amount of time. Okay, but most people won't be 400 GB. Some will be about 200 GB or around 230 GB. On average, a normal admin person's PC is about 180 GB of information. Still there, you give them about 2 hours to do the recovery. Okay, and also, of course, depends on the internet connection that you have. All right. Right. So next would be on the backup schedule and retention. Okay, as mentioned earlier. All right. You have your Windows. You can do it daily, weekly, or however often you want it to be. All right. Similarly, for your Microsoft 365, you can also do it daily or weekly. Right. So now for devices, for PCs or whatever that you have, okay, do note about screen locks, lockouts, and startups. All right. These will stop the backup, and then it will tell you that you have a failed backup, or your backup did not complete. All right. So take note of that. Right. Retention, as usual, you can keep as many as you like. Okay, and you can keep it for up to 1 year. All right. Then you can do whatever you want. Right. Next, you have your granular data recovery. Okay. So for Windows devices, you can individually recover individual files, okay, or the entire folders, okay, based on archives. All right. And for Microsoft 365, you can individually recover the emails, files, contacts, or calendar events, or the entire mailbox or folder. Okay. So just take note that this is a big advantage over all the others. All right. So you can actually basically pull out individual emails, pull out individual files. Right. You don't have to restore back the whole entire thing. Okay. Right. Okay. So for the month, it's already launched. Okay, for personal and businesses. Okay, so business is still initial phase. All right. You have to request it through the C2 website. All right. For businesses, they will do another launch, official launch, towards the end of this year. Okay, and at the same time, there will be more options for businesses once they start to pay for it. Okay. Other than that, for personal use, Windows 7, Windows 10 is fine. Okay. 11 is not fully launched yet. Okay. And then other than that, everything else is there. For personal, right now, it's only for up to 6 months retention. All right. Once it's officially launched, then you will be able to keep it for a longer time. Okay. Right. So now, for those who are willing to try or want to try out, okay, you want to do the C2 backup as usual. You can go to c2.synology.com and then click on the backup, and then it's there. All right. The window agent and recovery media creator has to be downloaded from the backup portal. So it has to be. It can only be found or done after you have signed in and done some backup. Okay. You can't download it before. All right. So how do you do it? Okay. So how do you set it up for Windows? So you have to have the agent. Okay, you download the agent, run the agent. Make sure you have administrative rights. Okay, or else you can't do it. Okay, once you run through the wizard, it'll basically help you do everything for you and back it up to the cloud. Okay, so this one is on the C2. This one is different from ABB. Okay, ABB is ABB. Hyper backup is hyper backup. This is for your cloud. All right. So this is direct from your Synology or from your devices directly up to the C2 backup. Okay. So how do you set it up? All right. So you navigate to the backup policy. All right. Create a policy as to how often you want it done. All right. So do note that all these are actually done through the internet. So make sure that you select the timing that is off peak. Okay. Because anything that is peak is going to affect your overall internet performance for the company or your home. Okay. Right. So once it's done, you create the rules and then you select the retention rules. Okay, how often and how long you want it to be. All right. Once that's done, okay. Now, in case you want to do a restoration bare metal, all right, you can just click on the device that requires the bare metal. All right, and then download and install the recovery media. You need an 8 GB minimum 8 GB USB drive. Okay, you need to install it and run it. Okay, once that's done, and then you will do the basically backup bare metal to the device. Okay. Next, if you want to select individual device folder or files that you want to recover, okay, and based on the versions, all right, it's all also based on the dashboard. From there, you can see it's pretty similar to ABB, okay, except that this everything is on the cloud. Okay. Right. So far, any questions? Everybody's okay. All right. So next, we'll be covering on the C2 Identity. Okay. It's also something very new. Okay. So basically, it's an identity service. It's not yet launched. Okay. It's not yet launched. I just want to cover it very briefly and quickly with you guys, so you know that it's coming. Okay. I don't think anyone else in the world has seen this, so I guess we are one of the first few in the world. All right. So basically, it's an identity service. Okay, and it basically helps you store and organize your identity. Okay, it works better for IT admins so that they can better administer their directory service. Okay, and then to check and recheck the credentials. All right, to verify and check the credentials. Okay, but for end users, basically it just gives them one single credential. But for IT administrator, they can do a better management in that sense. Okay, so So where's the demand? Okay, so the demand is basically companies are looking for a way to better manage their user accounts and devices. So that's one thing. So Synology see there's a market for it, and basically they need to have something that's dependent. And Synology bring a brand name, all right? Everybody believes in it. So they came out with the C2 Identity. It serves as a cloud directory service. Okay, so it's like a directory service, but it's based on the cloud rather than on premises. Okay, and single sign-on. Okay, right. So it's ID as a service. So there's a central management for ID. It works both on Mac and Windows. All right. So there's a single sign-on, but authentication-wise, it has to go through the internet. All right. And basically, there's a cloud console for the IT administrator to manage all the IDs and permissions, and at the same time integrate it together with other cloud services. All right. I'll show you what I mean by integration with other cloud services. Okay. And also at the same time, it can also work with your on-prem NAS for authentication. Okay. Right. So how the identity works. Okay. So user accounts are created and managed through the C2 ID Cloud Console. Okay. So the IT administrator definitely must have internet access, and in order to access all this, all right, you can also deploy a C2 ID server. Okay. Example through a Docker on any of the Synology NAS or as a local directory server. Okay, and you will sync up with the C2 ID online, and devices will be authenticated, okay, through the C2 identity, the C2 ID, all right, and the devices capabilities will be managed through the cloud console. Okay, so single sign-on, it will be integrated with selected storage as service cloud providers. All right, so I'll show it to you. Okay, so the current model is free for small businesses and businesses that are looking for a cloud ID management solution. Okay, it's good for people with a central NAS. Okay, for NAS, best used with a plus model. Okay, minimally plus model, because if you want to run it on-prem, you got to run it either through a Docker or you got to run it through a directory server. Okay, there's an app for it. Now, if you are larger businesses, then you have to pay for it because there are additional services provided for it. Okay. So at the same time, for IT admins, they can import in the users via a CSV file. Okay, and currently it supports LDAP, Windows 80, Microsoft 365, and Google Workspace. At the same time, access control is assigned based on roles. Okay. And in terms of device management, you can do through agents. Okay, same like your C2 backup. You can download the agent and deploy it across all the workstations. Right. As usual, there are policies which you can deploy, like disabling USB devices, configuring auto locks, setting up firewall settings, and enabling full disk encryption. Okay, so there are quite a number of things that you can play around with it. We're still in very early stages, so be one of the early people to learn how to utilize it, and also at the same time discover this new thing and see how it can benefit for you and your customers. Okay, remote management. Okay, so in case anything happens, users can remotely shut down the device, locking it, or initiating a remote swipe. Okay. So basically, C2 works. It works through local on-prem LDAP or local Synology NAS or Docker. Okay, credentials can be synchronized, and then local devices can be authenticated. Okay, this is to reduce the latency between devices and ID. All right, so you can run it either as a Docker or on the Synology NAS. All right. So for the single sign-on, it's able to identify for those who are on Microsoft 365 and Google Workspace, right? And basically complement each other. Okay. Single sign-on, basically the standard will be on SAML 2.0 and OpenID. Okay. So it basically acts as a ID provider to provide authentication across the devices and services. Okay, I'll show it to you in the dashboard as we move along. So if you want the password base, okay, for those which devices that are not compliant with single sign-on, right, then there will be the password base. Password base will be based on the C2 Identity browser extension, okay, and then you can just basically go through the same portion like that, okay. Right, let's take a look at the user portal. All right, so after the IT admin has already granted permission to end users to access, then what they can do is they can go in through the portal and then select the devices. Like for example, they may be connected to Dropbox, Amazon S3, or the Microsoft 365, or whatever devices that they are allowed to go to, okay, or services they are allowed to go to, right? So over here you can see that whatever that's allowed will be shown up and displayed on the user's dashboard, okay? Now, in terms of security, okay, you have the 2FA and also the TOTP, the time-based one-time password, okay? As usual, too many logins will result in the blocking of the login, all right? And password strength, you can set minimum 8 characters mixture, okay? And then for the secure remote protocol, everything is definitely encrypted, as we all know, okay? So end-to-end, there's no breakage in terms of encryption, okay? Another thing about the C2 identity is that you make it less susceptible to man-in-the-middle attack, okay? So even if somebody cuts and steal your data in the middle, okay, they try and tap it in, okay, they can't see anything because it's all encrypted. Right, so the release schedule is actually available right now. It's free, okay, free for up to 250. You can try it out on your window, on your NAS, minimally plus model, okay, and you can try and work it out with it. For those who require additional services and want to pay for it, it's $199 USD per user, all right, per month, and minimum 10 users, okay. What happens is, with the paid services, you get unlimited number of users, and also you get access to more directory services, okay? And you can have more integrated applications. The free integrated application right now is only limited to Google Workspace and Microsoft 365, okay? So you can't add Dropbox and the rest unless you pay for it down the road, okay? Down the road. So more stuff is coming in before end of the year, once it's officially launched. If you want to try out for the trial, as usual, fill in your request at the end in the QR code, or you can let your sales know about it, and then Synology will contact you and give you an account for it. Okay, I will create a video on how to use it very soon, and then we'll push this out on the YouTube. Okay. Right. So as usual, the free ones are basically there. All right. You can't do any customized SSO yet, or you can do any password-based sign-on. Okay. Right. Okay. So we're coming towards the end. Right. So new product updates. There are 2 new models. DS2422 Plus. The CPU has changed. It's now currently using an AMD Ryzen V1500B. The default memory on board is 4 GB. It's still on 1 GB LAN ports. If you need 10 GB, you need to put the add-on card. There is a PCI add-on cards available. Okay. Then for the DS3622XS Plus, the CPU has changed to Xeon D1531, and onboard memory is 16 GB. You can maximize up to 48 GB. Okay, 3622XS Plus, you can maximize up to 48 GB by adding 32 GB RAM. Okay, they're all using ECC RAMs, so take note of that. Now, in terms of hard drives, okay, I know there are a lot of questions being asked. Currently, right now, it's best to, if possible, use Synology drives. Okay, we are on the Synology channel. All right, there is no restriction per se to say that you can't use non-Synology drives. Okay, just make sure that the drives are on the compatible list. Okay, do take note, Synology will not support if your drives are not on the list. Okay, I have to say this out loud. All right, it's already stated in the website. Everything is in the website. It's already stated there for you. So there's a reason why there's a compatibility list. Okay, because we get many people using all kinds of drives into a NAS, and then they resulted in many issues, and they expect Synology to help them settle it. Okay, but they are not using something that is approved by Synology, and they have issues. So there's the dispute there. Okay. So as usual, please do note to follow the things inside the compatible list, okay, or the approved list, okay, or else the statement is already there, okay. Synology can refuse support if you're not using anything that's not in the list, okay. Right. Okay. So thank you very much for joining me and finding out more information about the C2. Okay. So there's a very quick survey at the end of the presentation. All right. Do fill it in. Give your comments. I know today's information is very, very advanced because I'm talking about something that is going to happen next year. Okay. And right now we are in Q3, Q4 of 2021. Okay. And I have to cover things that is going to maybe happening in 2022 Q3 or Q4. All right. So I'm giving you information that's 1 year ahead of time. You don't necessarily have to inform your customers, but keep yourself updated about all this information. That'll be good. Then you can know what's happening. Okay. Now, at the same time, do join us in our Facebook group. Okay, we do have a Synology Singapore user group, and I'm the moderator inside there. I do a bi-weekly live video to talk about things. If there are topics that you want to talk about, of course, being resellers and installers, you may not want to share too much information, but there are general information that's available inside the Facebook group. Do join us, and also we do give out some stuff over there. All right, we will get more information and more stuff from the Synology Facebook group. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys alone to fill in the survey form for a couple of minutes. Do try our best to provide as much details as possible. Synology would like to get to know you. And at the same time, if you are willing to try out any of the services that I mentioned to you today, please do feedback. You can definitely let your distributors know that you're interested. Okay, Cindy is around, Susanna is around. Okay, all of them are around. They'll be able to feedback to Synology to get back to you. Okay, so Ingram is definitely there. Ethernet issue is there. Memory was also there. Okay, if anybody want to reach out to me, you know where to find me. Okay, not that difficult. I'm also here to help you and answer your questions if you have any. All right. Okay, I'm going to leave you guys alone. Okay, in case anybody want to see the Synology C2 website, I'm going to stop this and I'm going to share the C2 website with you guys. Okay, hang on. Okay, so this is the Synology C2 website. Okay, you can see here that it's all in here. All you can see here it's the okay. You can see all the information on the c2.synology.com. All right, it's all in English. Don't worry. All right. So for individuals, they will talk about the passwords, backup, and storage. Okay. Now, in terms of businesses, basically you will have more options. Okay. Right. So for businesses, you will have C2 Backup, C2 Transfer, C2 Identity, and C2 Storage. Okay. So all the information is actually on this micro lending site. Okay. So for individuals, you have your password, backup, and storage. For businesses, you have your backup, transfer, ID, and storage. But in terms of pricing, ID is still not out yet. You can pay for transfer, password, storage, and backup. Okay. So it's all available here for you. All right, so that's good. Okay, so hang on, I need to move out and then see my screen. All right. Okay, so basically everything is available on the Synology website now. You can take a look at it. Okay, um, I would highly suggest for most of you to try it out and see how is it like before it actually goes full blast and live next year. Okay, that will be where it goes full really live. Okay, don't wait till next year then try it out. We're still in the early stages, so you can get to know how it's being done. Mhm. Okay. All right, let me switch back to my slide. I think we are all done. Okay, so I believe most of you have already filled up the survey form. Let's say thank you very much for joining me today for the session. I will hope that it's informative as I'm giving you information that is going to come out next year. But right now, it's already on early stages of trial for most of it. Do sign in using your Synology account, be it on personal level, to try it out and see how it works, so that in case customer ask you, and if you wish to explore the avenue of being an MSP, right? So you get early know-how and early stage information, so you can proceed and prepare yourself and your company to proceed and sell all these services from Synology. Okay, don't just stop at selling NAS and also doing configuration installation, but also move beyond that. All right. So look forward to our next session next month, and then we'll get more. I hope that we'll be able to cover hybrid share next month, because there's quite a number of questions, and it's a very new function on the DSM 7.0. Okay, there's the hybrid share. So that's also being asked quite a fair bit. And also in terms of the other backup options, okay, there seems to be quite a lot of questions asked about the backup options. All right, don't forget to join us on our Facebook page. Okay, so I'll see you soon. All right, thank you very much.